Little Richie Valens on the old playlist. And we are back for a Sunday fun day. Now you might have noticed, since the last Sunday fun day, I removed the hood. I try and do a couple little things during the week, after hours, in between work, just to help out. Here by myself, obviously, on the weekends, so had to remove the hood so I could get a hand to carry it off. So I got the hood off there. And then what else I did was I finished grinding down the welds, all the welds in there, cleaned it up. Still got a cut out there for the master cylinder, but I can't do it right now. So if I try and cut it out right now, the hole saw is going to hit the master cylinder. So whatever. Do that when the body's off the frame. Did chop this out. Now I left them normally, like I said, if you look at any factory shoebox, these are there. They're factory. And they're hidden under the sill plate. I like to have it cut out, like I say, if I wanted to run some wires through here, which I'm probably not. I mean, I can, I may not. I'm probably going to run them up through the headliner. I like that idea better. Less chance of them ever getting wet up in there, right? But if something ever goes wrong up in there, you're kind of fucked. But what is going to go wrong up in the headliner, honestly, if it's one solid piece of wire, there's really nothing to go wrong. But anyway, I did cut the one out. You always make sure you got no sharp burrs around here, right? And what I'm going to do also is I'm going to drill a couple holes, like I say. I'm going to drill a couple little holes on the bottom of the rocker sill. You know, just I like to have those in there in case any water gets in there. It's a drain point, right? If you don't, water's just going to sit in there. And these cars, actually, factory did have slots. They almost look like louvers that were under there. I can't duplicate that, but a couple holes are the same bloody thing. So, remember, we put all the floor in there. Door closes beautiful. The hood is off. There's that good running flatty. Y'all remember. If you don't remember, go back to my video. Hadn't been ran for, I don't know, 20 years or something. She flashed straight up. I did a compression check. It's somewhere around here. Had good compression. Like 100 pounds or something all the way across. Which is not bad for an engine that hasn't ran, right? So now our next thing here is I'm going to, oh, and I pulled the headlight out, obviously, and I pulled these few pieces off. So now what I'm doing here is today I'm going to get the fender off. I'm going to get the fender off, and then after the fender, you can see this door is way, way, way out of line. Look at that, look at that body line. Now, the door to me, because this door, I can't really show you this, but you have to take my word. It's got no, right? It's got no movement on the pins. They're solid. But look at the gap there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here for a lifetime, heating up these goddamn screws they put in there. Actually, you don't want to heat the screw. You want to heat the nut in behind it. If you heat the screw, you could strip it out. We're going to heat those up. I'm not going to remove the door. I'm going to heat those up, put a jack under it with a 2x4 on the bottom of the door. See if I can't lift it enough to get it to line up before I do anything, because I don't need to do the door pins. See if that'll work. And what I did, like I told you a long time ago, always take your striker off. Your striker will throw you for a loop. Leave it off. It's the last thing you worry about on any build. Don't care who you are, what you say, striker stays off to the end. So I'm going to jack that sucker up, get it loosened up, try and jack it up. Get that lined up before I do anything. And then from there, well, then we'll start doing the same goddamn thing we did on the other side. Start cutting the rocker off and going from there. Once you get the new rocker on, then it's floor time. So, you know, only what, 3-4 more Sundays and we'll have floors in the bastard? Anyway, let's attempt this fender. Okay, well, first is first. We got the fender off. Put it away where it belongs. I got the door off, and as you can see, like I was saying, like there's no movement in these, hinges, which is good. Driver's side's always the one that's worn out, so you use the you use the most. Let's face it. So I'm going to try to adjust this door a bit. I'm going to get the hinges off of here now. There's no point in me filming this for you guys because all it involves is a hot wrench to heat up these little bad boys and get them out. I got some new Allen heads, so I'm not a fan of anything that involves using a screw head. Back in the day there was flat screw heads, Phillips, there was all sorts of that stuff, and I'm just not a fan of it. It was good at the time, but here we are, like, I don't know, 60 years later or 50 years later, and God, what is this car? 1950. Holy fuck, she's 74 years old. So here we go, 74 years later, and well, you got to be careful. If you don't want to heat this up, because you put screwdriver in, it's going to strip it. You got to heat around it, or get from the back side and heat the nuts up, right? Inside the door there, the fixed nuts. So anyway, we're going to heat this up now and get these off, and then I'll get everything, I'll retap everything, clean it out. That's what I do, retap all the door ones, clean them all out. And then I've got a bag of, there it is way over there, I got a bag of brand new Allen head ones there. We'll see if we can get everything moving a bit, see if we can't, like there's no adjustment in these hinges on this side of the door. There's no adjustment. As you can see, it's fixed. And really in the door, there's no adjustment. Your adjustment, believe it or not, you know, is that little bit you get, oops, sorry guys, you get in there. That's your adjustment. So we'll see though. I have a funny feeling that I just clean all this stuff up, lube it up, and put it all back together, and I think it might work, because it did for the driver's side. It worked for that, especially once I put the new pin in it. So we'll, yeah, probably kind of starting out kind of slow this video, but we'll see where we go. Okay, so you saw I had the door off, and then I took my trusty, wherever I put it, right down there. That's my tap. I retapped all the holes and the doors, lubed them up, did the hinge on the other side, got a little bit of movement out of them, and this is where we're at, and I got the latch in. There's where we're at for body line now. You remember where it was before? It basically, this line was like lining up here. So I've moved it that far. I put the latch in just to see what it would be like, and the door is opening nice. And I know it sounds like you're slamming it, but I'm not. It's because the doors are hollow inside. So it's not bad. Now it's a teeny bit still out. It's a little bit still out, but it's not enough where I'm going to worry about it right now, and I'll tell you why. This is out the exact same amount actually is what the driver's side is, and I'm not going to be concerned, because like I told you guys, on these shoe boxes, this is another support mount here, and when you start changing that, things change. You can see the thing's cracked, worn out. So when I put the new ones in, that little bit could change there. For what that little bit is, for that teeny marginal bit, it's not going to make a difference what I'm doing with the rocker. And this is why I wanted to line the door up first, like I said, because I want to make sure when I put the rocker on, I've got a nice gap along the bottom. Where if I would have put the door, if I would have left the door down low, I would have put the rocker down lower, and then would have welded it on, and then I go to move the door after, I would have had a huge gap like that, where you should essentially maybe have like a gap like that. So this is why I spent the time doing that. Believe it or not, I turned the camera off to do all this. There's no point you watching me tap and die things and bolt doors back on. That's a bloody over an hour gone already. But that's all right. We're going to move forward now with our rocker panel. We still got time in the day to address cutting the rocker off at least, and see where we get from there. All right, well, it looks like we got a rocker panel off. Chopped her off. So, like the other side, much like the other side, this should not be rusted out. So I gotta make a piece for in here. Again, when I put it in there, I'm gonna drill a hole through it in case I ever want to run anything down through the sill, because it'll run towards the back of the car. Which, like I say, I don't highly recommend running things through the sill plates. They did back in the day, but no matter what you do, you always get some sort of water or something in there, and whatever's laying in there, well, it's laying in water, right? But nowadays, most of these cars, they never see rain anyway. They're always in the garage, so hey, really? I guess you're okay to run stuff through there. But anyway, I want to drill the hole just in case. It's always handy. And, we got to finish chopping it away in there. So finish that. And like I say, somebody had replaced the rockers, and then they had, the back they just made up, and look at it, it's made out of 3 different pieces, right? There's a piece overlapping and another piece. Yeah, these are like new. You probably could have left them on there, but not right for me. I just as soon do this car proper and know that in my lifetime I'm not going to have to worry about rust again. I don't give a shit about the next guy's lifetime. Like I've said over and over, I build my cars to drive. I build my cars for me. I build my cars so I can have fun in them. As long as they're going to last for, if I can get 20, 25 years out of them, and I don't drive them in the winter, but I do drive them in the rain. If I can get that out of them, and they're not all rotten like this, that's all I need. I don't care if they're starting to get a couple blisters on the quarters and the fenders here and there. Let the next guy deal with it. I built it, I want to drive it, I want to have fun with it. I don't want to sit in the garage and baby it. Don't got time for that shit. So anyway, we'll, yeah, I guess we'll get in there and clean all that up now. I'm going to leave the door on, again, because like I say, I like to fit the rocker while the door is on so I can see what the gap is. But we got a bit of cleaning to do up, and we'll just have to go from there and make all this up. And hopefully there's enough time today to do this. Okay, so I got all the corners cleaned up. I got our weld-through primer up in the areas that are going to be covered because this rocker slips over this. There's no repair needed on this corner. Luckily, this side is good. In the back corner, just like the other one, which I showed you a few seconds ago or minutes ago in the video, I got to make this. I've made this piece, and I've got it drying over in the other side there. I've sprayed it with our weld-through primer. Now, it's rotten in behind here. But honestly, I'm not going to deal with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this new piece. I'm going to butt weld it in here, come down. I'm just going to put a couple tacks here because you can see, look at the hole. I've ordered this whole new piece front here. And if you're asking where I'm getting this, someone had asked on a video where you're getting this from. I'm getting it from EMS Sheet Metal, United States. Look them up, EMS. Anyway, so I'm just going to put a couple tacks so it can at least stay there in place. I'm going to weld it solid here. Here again, I'm going to put the odd tack. But if you look here, this is, it's rotten, so this all has to be cut out, but I'm going to deal with that when I get the body off the frame. That's the easiest way to deal with that, just because this is so tight in here to the frame and everything. But I got to get this piece in, then we can start fitting the new rocker. So with that being said, I think I'm going to quickly run inside, grab something to eat, get my ass back out here because my day's running short. Because it is New Year's Eve, y'all know. I don't know if this video will go up New Year's Eve, probably go up the day after, but got a party to go to, evening party, so I got to get to that, and yeah, that's about it. I don't know. Part of me thinks I'd maybe want to stay in the shop and have a party with my car. Nah, just joking. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go eat, be back, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so I got my door closed. Make sure my lines are in line there, right? And then what I've done is I just put a tack on the back because I have nowhere to clamp this new rocker panel. So I put 2 tacks, that's it. They shouldn't be there, you should have a nice line there, but I just tacked it there for now because I had to have the door closed. I can't tack it inside, right? So I can cut those later, that's besides the point. And then I've clamped it, as you can see, in the front. Now, what I'm looking at is oh, excuse me guys, I'm looking at the rocker gap to the door gap, and I'm comparing it to the other side also, because my doors are pretty much exactly in the same spot for body line, so I'm comparing it. So another thing, you're gonna laugh at me when I say this is one of my things that I do. Sometimes, before I even grab a tape measure, I'll put my fingers just along here, and I'll just run them all the way down. And what I can do here, because I've been doing it for so long, you're gonna laugh, but I can obviously tell where my finger is fitting in that gap to begin with. And all of a sudden, if my finger starts to go further in the gap, I know that the gap's obviously getting larger. But here, it's the same all the way. And I'm kind of shitty filming, but you can see it is consistent. Now the next thing you want to make sure of is you want to make sure of this. You don't want the rocker sticking out past the door. Sometimes it's nice to have the door just slightly over the rocker. Slightly over. Very little. You know, or you want it dead even. And the reason I'm saying slightly a little bit over is if it's raining and wet, the water just rolls down, drips down off the door. It doesn't drip and sit along inside this seam of the rocker. You know what I'm saying? If the door's sat in, water's going to drip into there and just sit there. Nice to just have it a little bit over. And it's much, oh God, get off the ground here. It's just the same as on. Again, we got our body line up there by the door. You see, it's the same. And again, same all the way. And again, if that's got a little dent right there. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. There's a crease, so forget about that. If I go like that, this door is very, very, I don't even know if I can see that on the film, but it is, it looks worse on the film doing it that way, but it is like, it's like over like the thickness of a, I don't know, matchbook cover, if that makes any sense to you. Now your other thing you want to make sure, which we did here, is you always want to make sure your rocker is in line with the front of your door edge. You don't want it further, you don't want it way back. So that's the other thing you want to make sure of. And this one is there. So with that being done, I'm going to put a couple spot welds up in there, or plug welds to hold it there properly. Then I'm going to open the door and kind of weld it a little better inside here so I can get rid of that. Then I can see where I'm going. I never weld nothing solid yet because it could be that something goes out of whack and then you have to cut. So remember, don't get carried away starting to just weld it up solid thinking you got it. Don't do that. Couple spots here and there. Open your door, try your door, make sure everything's working. Make sure your inner rocker piece is going to fit. Make sure it all is lining up. What's happened to my radio station? Oh, Christmas music now. What the hell? I thought that shit was over. Get changed out in a minute. Happiest season. Happiest season is car season. We're good. Okay guys, so what's going on here is the radio decided to play Christmas music and that station's getting changed real quick. Got her all lined up, welding her in place. Happy here too because this floor is lining up with the existing floor. If it's out the thickness of a matchbook cover. That's about it. So getting that welded up and got some weld over there. Finish welding it there, then cut off these ugly ones I put here. And then we'll have we'll close the door, come around to the other side of the rocker, get all that welded up, then we'll have a rocker in place. So that'll be lovely. And I think that might be the end of our day after that. It's getting late. It's been a productive day though. Okay guys, that's going to be a wrap for today. Time slipped away on me, I didn't know where we're at. So there's a rocker on, door lined up, fender off. We're all welded up in there. I tried this fender back on. I haven't been showing this in the videos. I didn't even show it in that one, I forgot. I slipped the fenders back on, stick a bolt in the back area, because the fenders slip over top of this, so they're really going to line up in the front. And I always just make sure that everything's lining up with the rocker. And then of course we'll get inside here. And it's all, got it all welded up there, ground down, welded up in the front. So our next step is to do our back of the rocker. We'll get onto that. And then we'll cut the floor out. Get our front mount in, get our front floor, basically doing just the opposite we just did there. Then after that we'll get onto the back half here. And then we got a pretty solid car actually from this point on. There's a few holes I see over there that someone, I don't know, they're bolt holes, drill holes, whatever. Got to weld those up. I completely forgot when I was there, but we'll get to them. There we go. So that's it. So hey, y'all have a good New Year's. It is New Year's Eve night. I don't know when this video, if it's going up tonight or if it's going up tomorrow. It'll go up tomorrow for sure, New Year's Day. But you have a good New Year's Eve night. Like I say, I got to get on the run. It's pretty much almost 5:30. I'm supposed to be somewhere at 6, so that just ain't going to happen. But anyway, that's it. Hey, see you next year. It's always a good time at old time.